find themselves lost in the wilderness, surrounded by thick fog. The man is holding up the compass on his phone, looking around for any signs, but suddenly, without warning, the phone explodes in his hand. Before they can react, a woman bursts out of the fog, running straight toward them. Her face is twisted in agony, her body shaking uncontrollably. The man approaches her to offer help, but she immediately grabs him and starts biting him viciously. Meanwhile, in a different part of the forest, a driver named Blasco is taking 3 passengers on a trip into the woods. As they drive deeper, Blasco suddenly slams on the brakes. In front of them, there's an unknown object blocking the path, glowing with a sickly green light and giving off a terrible stench. As Blasco gets out of the car to investigate, one of the passengers, Marta, notices something wriggling by the side of the road. Most people would avoid it, but Marta, driven by curiosity, reaches out to touch the strange mass. Just as their hands are about to make contact, a small bug quickly burrows into Marta's finger. Marta shrugs it off, thinking it's nothing serious, and keeps quiet about it. Meanwhile, Blasco returns to the car, sensing something's off and feeling they should leave. He starts the car and quickly drives away. However, the car hasn't gotten very far when suddenly, a figure appears on the road. Blasco, distracted, accidentally hits the person, sending them flying. Panicking, the group rushes out of the car to check on the injured person, but they find that she's unconscious. They try to call for an ambulance, but not only does the call fail to connect, it also causes an explosion. With no other options, they decide to lift the woman into the car and take her to the nearest hospital. What the others don't know is that Marta, who is still in the car, is experiencing a strange transformation in her finger. A worm-like creature is wriggling through her flesh. As the car continues on its way, Mariella tends to the injured woman. But as Mariella examines the woman's wounds, something horrifying happens. The woman suddenly grabs Mariella's arm. Then, a long, disgusting tongue shoots out of the woman's mouth, piercing through her ear and entering Mariella's brain. Just like that, Mariella is transformed into one of them. The others in the front of the car remain completely unaware of what just happened. Lydia and Blasco argue in the front seat, which annoys Marta. To drown out the tension, she cranks up the volume on the car's music. At this point, the transformed Mariella slowly creeps up on Lydia. Completely unprepared, Lydia is suddenly knocked to the ground by Mariella. With the music blaring too loud, Marta and Blasco in the front of the car don't notice a thing until Lydia, desperately struggling, throws the injured woman's skin onto the car window. Only then does Blasco slam on the brakes, bringing the car to a halt. They both look back and realize what's happening. Marta quickly jumps out of the car, trying to pull Lydia away, but the monster's strength is overwhelming. It looks like Lydia's life is about to end in the creature's jaws. At the crucial moment, Blasco steps in, grabbing a guitar and swinging it at the monster, finally driving it off and saving Lydia. The 3 of them scramble out of the car, running toward the nearby woods. But the monster is clearly not ready to give up the chase. It crashes through the car door and starts pursuing them. There's only one monster, so Blasco, thinking quickly, decides to split up in order to avoid a group takedown. The 3 separate, with Blasco climbing a tree while Marta and Lydia hide behind some rocks. Soon, the monster arrives under Blasco's tree, and Blasco holds his breath, doing his best not to make a sound. However, Marta, unable to resist the pain from the parasite in her finger, lets out a sound. Hearing this, the monster quickly charges in their direction. Fortunately, Lydia, thinking on her feet, uses her phone's flashlight to divert the creature's attention. Knowing the monster will catch up soon, Lydia makes the tough decision to stay behind and buy Marta some time to escape. Just as Marta leaves, the monster attacks Lydia. Marta, still running, bumps into Blasco on the way. Together, they seize the opportunity to return to the car and quickly drive away from the area. Shortly after they leave, a figure emerges from the jungle. It seems to be Lydia, her clothes confirming it. With little fuel left in the car, Blasco drives them to a nearby gas station. He grabs a fuel can and heads off to find gas. Meanwhile, Marta, left in the car, spots the monster approaching through the rearview mirror. Just as the monster is about to notice her, the gas station owner appears and draws the creature's attention. In a split second, the monster leaps, reaching the owner and instantly sinks its teeth into his head, taking him down. Hiding under the car, Marta dares not make a sound. At that moment, Blasco, who had been out looking for fuel, returns to the scene. He quickly drags Marta out from under the car and starts driving away from the gas station. What they don't know is that Lydia, who had disappeared earlier, is now clinging to the car roof. The car hadn't gone far when a strange noise comes from above. Blasco realizes something is wrong and slams on the brakes, causing the monster to be thrown off the roof. Blasco immediately floors the accelerator, driving the car straight over the monster's body. However, after they drive away, the monster gets back on its feet. The two in the car think they're safe, and Blasco, already exhausted from the ordeal, relaxes, only to pass out. As Marta tries to wake him, the mutated monster catches up once again. The creature extends a long, 5-meter tongue, which wraps around Blasco's neck. No matter how hard Marta struggles, she can't break the tongue's grip. In that moment, Marta grabs the car's cigarette lighter and presses it directly onto the monster's tongue. The monster lets go, screaming in pain, but tries to grab Marta again, just as Blasco wakes up and starts the car. Seeing the monster closing in on the driver's seat, Blasco floors the gas pedal and crashes straight into a large tree. Luckily, after the crash, both of them only suffer minor injuries, but the danger is far from over. A tentacle suddenly reaches out and drags Marta away. With the monster's mouth about to snap shut on Marta, Blasco heroically intervenes. He takes off his yellow jacket and actually tries to play bullfighter with the zombie. But zombies aren't bulls, and in just a few moments, Blasco is knocked to the ground. Fortunately, Marta picks up a steel pipe just in time and stabs it straight through the zombie's throat, finally killing it. The two of them, having narrowly escaped death, thought the nightmare was finally over. However, when they exhaustedly arrived at a small town bar, they found it completely deserted. Marta, in the restroom, was horrified to discover the remnants of zombie fluid. Meanwhile, Blasco, who was about to light a cigarette, found himself surrounded by a horde of zombies. At that moment, Marta emerged from the restroom, but her pupils had turned completely white. Blasco instantly understood everything. He didn't put up a fight. Instead, he took one last sip of his drink, his final shot at life.